Well, guys, that was probably the season. I'd have to assume that would be. We had a shot at the end. It's another game this season that the Browns cannot seem to pull it out at the end. We had a chance. You know, the other thing too, and I was just talking to my dad before he left. Yeah, ultimately, this game, I mean, who knows the situation, but this game came down to 2 points. It was a missed extra point the first drive, and then it was then we went for 2 and didn't get it. So then that forces us to go down and try to win the game. I mean, teams go down and win games. You know, teams go down and have chances to win games. They actually go down and they win games, right? And unfortunately, we could not today. And I to be honest, guys, I don't know. I don't know where that leaves us. I don't know if that means, I don't know what the situation is, to be honest. I don't know if the situation, like how much of it you can put on Baker. I think the heave into double covers, the first interception, and I think the interception that was thrown where he wobbled it above Jarvis, I think those are on Baker. You know, I think the other 2 interceptions were questionable. The last interception, DPJ was obviously held. It was held. So, and my dad was saying, it's like, you know what, games like that, you can't win games. You can't win games if you don't get calls. And I mean, that was an obvious call. It was an obvious call, and they can't review it. They didn't look at it. It was a difference maker in the game. It's so disappointing. It's so disappointing that the NFL and the referees have so much control over the game, the outcomes of the games. Every play, the first drive when Chubb had the screen and he rolled down the field and got him into close to the red zone, and that flag went down. I was like, you know, and then luckily it wasn't on us, but I was like, this isn't fun. This isn't fun to watch games like this. Mike's here. Give me 1 second so I can bring him in. Where am I at here? Mike, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. I mean, my thoughts on this game were I honestly didn't think we had any business even being in the game at the end in terms of an opportunity to even win it. I'm shocked that we even got that the way that we played. I'm shocked that in a game that is make or break for your season, and our quarterback throws 4 interceptions. Guys, 4 interceptions that turned into 21 points. And the last one probably would have turned into more points, but the game was over at that point, so that one didn't count. In terms of like, would it have mattered or not? It ultimately mattered the most because it sealed the game. So we aren't good, and there's just so much. But the fact that we brought up another kicker who ultimately, whether it actually would have came down to these 2 points or not, you know, at the end of the game, it did. But whether he would have made it or not, I'm just so sick of that mattering. You know, I'm sick of it being a situation like that. Max Nikolenko coming through the super chat. I'm so glad it's Christmas. It definitely numb the pain from me. Merry Christmas, Browns fans. At least we get that. Thanks, Max. Appreciate that, man. Merry Christmas to you. Sorry the Browns couldn't do it. Hambo's here. Steve Z. Max Nikolenko. Thank you for the super chat. Typical gamer mids plug. Wolf stands here. Who else? Bobby Hall. What's going on, man? Ray. Yeah, guys. It's just I don't know what to say. Mike, Max, thank you. That was a $20 super chat. Thank you very much, Max. Michael Del Castillo, thank you. Payne. Mike, I'll let you have it, man. I just feel like I want to throw up.
Yeah, I mean, look, Baker didn't play well today. There's no question about that. You know, you could go back to the injuries, and I mean, he was been off for a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. You know, a little rusty. However, you know, you've got to make plays, and there were a lot of plays left on the field. But I will say that, and I was just having this spirited chat with a friend via text message, but and the message of, or I should say, the context of the conversation is just simply, you know, him telling me that, you know, Baker didn't do enough to win the game, and we lost because of him. And I understand that, you know, Baker didn't play his best. However, you know, the only thing that matters in an NFL game is what the score is when the clock, you know, strikes zero. And even through all of the misery of that game, however, there was a lot of bright spots. I mean, we outplayed them in the second half. I mean, if you go look at the stats, they don't lie. We outrushed them. Even the passing game was better in the second half than they were. So I guess my point being is that when you get to a point where you're getting in position to win a game and a blatant miscall occurs like that,
yep,
it's inexcusable. And I have to tell you, it's week in and week out, and it's making me not enjoy watching football anymore at this point. And I mean, you could not have a more blatant pass interference call, set aside from just flat out knocking or tackling somebody. I mean, he was all over him from Jump Street, tugged on his jersey, which led him to fall down, and then just steps right in front of him, picks it off. And I mean, there's how many clowns on the field, and not one yellow flag came out.
Nobody saw
It's
it.
just disheartening.
Were they not? That's the thing, like, because DPJ and Baker both knew it immediately. It wasn't like, I mean, there was a whole bunch of, hold on, let's go back, and I'm sure, I don't think Fox even wanted to show it because they knew.
No, and I was watching a little bit of the post-game show, and not even a peep of it. And it's like, it's getting to the point where you hear it quite a bit, and you don't want to believe it, even though there's part of you that's like, yeah, it might be. But I mean, it's getting to the point where, I mean, this has to be tied back to Vegas somehow, and betting on games. It just has to. And if you follow the trail, it's only gotten worse as states started ticking off to be able to gamble in those states on the NFL. So it's just disheartening. I mean, you
know what I'd like to see, Mike?
What? Yeah.
I'd like to see a PFF of the refs.
Oh, you couldn't because they would have to be fired, because it would be so atrocious that people would be all over Vegas. But it's, and again, like I said, and this friend keeps going back and forth. I see it popping up on the computer, but I get it. Like, you could sit here all day long and tell me, oh, if you guys had a better quarterback, you wouldn't have even been in that position, and you would have won the game. Except, okay, great. You're probably right. We absolutely would. But that's the reason why they play for 60 minutes, because anything can happen, and it does. And we were in position. I mean, it's a blatant call. That is first down and 10, well inside field goal range at that point. With still, I think there was a minute 1 on the clock when that play went down.
And so we're running or getting real conservative at that point because it's within range.
Yeah. So you're looking at 54 seconds left. You've got all 3 timeouts. I mean, think about that. That play is called. the clock stops, so you don't even need to sacrifice a timeout. So the
Good
proper
point.
call is made. The clock stops. You have 1st and 10, and off you go. And I can't imagine that the NFL gods hate the Browns so much that if we would have been able to line up for a game winner there, yeah, he would have made the kick. I mean, that's just how it works. But the point being is, you just can't say, oh well, if you would have had better this or better that. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, before the clock strikes 0, if you could have 17 turnovers, and if you found a way to scratch and claw and fight to be in that game and put yourself in a position to win, I mean, isn't that what it's all about? Isn't that what they preach about, the excitement of the NFL and the excitement of sports? So, yeah, I'm tired of being put into situations like that. And I watch a lot of NFL. I have the Sunday ticket. I watch a good majority of the games, and I see teams get hosed, absolutely. But you just don't see teams getting hosed with such blatant calls as we do and have.
Yeah, I mean, and then the when they called the false start on Teller and they showed the replay, I mean, my dad said that he thinks that they just called it on the wrong guy, but then they played the replay and I go, Dad, which guy should they have called it on?
That
Which
was
guy?
actually a gift. That actually, it's funny because that
You're right.
false
Yeah,
start
you and I texted about that.
probably, yeah, gave us a chance at the end to win because they weren't getting that, and it would have just been extremely ugly. But
Yeah.
I just, you can't continue to make. Hey, it's an easy fix. Put a sky judge in all around the league. Put a sky judge in, but they won't. And the reason why they won't is the same reason why they put a team in Las Vegas, and it's because of the money.
Yeah, because they can. It's plausible deniability at that point. Sorry, we missed the call. I mean, we're all human.
Yeah, and then you have to say to yourself, like, how deep does it run?
Hold on 1 second. We got a super chat that came in
Sure.
from Michael Del Castillo. No way the NFL is going to allow us to beat Green Bay on such a historic night for Rodgers. Michael, I actually I was about to say that. I was about to say, like, they're gonna have this game where Brett Favre comes in on the Megatron, on the Fantron. He looked like somebody had a gun to his head to do that. Didn't he? Didn't he look like he didn't look like he was happy to say that, And then they were like, "Oh, this is the football that he threw the touchdown to is going to go to Brett Favre's nephew." I'm like, that could be Aaron Rodgers trolling, like, I'm your nephew's favorite quarterback, Brett. And I sat there and when I saw him on the Fantron, I was like, "What the hell is Brett Favre doing here?" The classic line from there's something about Mary. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but Michael Del Castillo, thank you very much for the super chat, my man. I agree with you. There could be some more craziness that went into that, but it's just every week I feel like it is so difficult to enjoy watching football because the refs have so much power.
No, I agree with that. And Utah in the chat, I appreciate the comment. What about Baker's 3 other interceptions? I just touched on that about 2 minutes ago. He played a poor game. There's no question about it. But again, it's a 60-minute game. And the only thing that matters is what the score is when the clock strikes 0. And we were in a position, albeit, for atrocious play the whole game. And remember what I said, atrocious quarterback play. If you look at the stats in the second half, our stats were better, rushing and passing. But throw that aside. He played a not very good game. There's no question about that. But at the end of the game, he put them in a position to win the game, and the ref blew a extremely blatant call. And I have to tell you, And you could ask Mike. I'm not one to blame the referees on a loss or a controversial type of play here and there. But when it's something as blatant as that, I mean, it's like stealing in plain sight, and people are going to pretend that they didn't see it. I mean, and like I said, I watched the post-game show, not even a mention about it. It's all right there. And again, are we going to stop watching football because of it? No. Are we going to bitch and moan about it? Absolutely. And especially the magnitude of this type of game for us. Last week, you turn around, and last week is I mean, not even last week, it was several days ago, but that loss doesn't look as bad right now, that you go into Green Bay on Christmas and you pull one off.
I mean, your season's still alive because if we win the next two games, which are winnable games, we make the playoffs. And now it's like, I mean, it was gonna be a tall. It's gonna be a tall order going into Heinz Field too. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But I get it. Like I 4 interceptions, why we lost. It's not good. Whatever. I don't deny that. Trust me when I tell you, 3 interceptions, 2 interceptions, 4 interceptions, not good.
No.
But at the end of the day, if I asked you a question, right, at the end of the day, Mike, I'll pretend you are the audience, right, and you're going to answer for them.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, did Baker put them in a position to win the game?
I mean, technically, yes.
Yeah. So
he was the quarterback. I mean, I would probably give more to D'Ernest Johnson and Nick Chubb, but he was one of the 11.
Yeah. So, but he found DPJ. He was open. If he wasn't yanked down, he would have made the catch. It would have been a first down. But he was yanked down, and there's no call.
Hey, Tyrone Jackson comes in with the $9.99 super chat. Another tough loss. Thank for doing these post game shows. It numbs the pain after all the frustrating losses this season. Merry Christmas to everyone. Tyrone, Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to everyone as well. Thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate that. Max Nikolenko coming in with $10 more on the super. I bet if Baker played more, he would play better overall. Run was getting unwatchable, and it's unwinnable when every team knows what play is next to run. Yeah, I mean, it's also like they even sniffed out that screenplay too to D'Ernest at the end. They were like, "Hey, watch for the stream." I mean, it's I just wonder if, again, Andrew Berry said we're going to look in order to make a decision on the quarterback position. We're going to look at the entire body of work, not just this season, but previous seasons. We're going to look at the body of work. We're going to gauge. We're going to assess, and then we're going to make a decision. And I mean, PFF coming through with that Kenny Pickett. Where the mock draft with the Browns said give Kenny Pickett at 15. I mean, it made me laugh. In the middle of a game where Baker's literally driving us down to possibly win and beat an 11-3 team at home on Christmas, and they're like, the Browns mock draft, they draft Kenny Pickett. Now, I gotta tell you though, Mike, we got 2 games left. If we don't win these next 2 games, if we lose these next 2 games, we are in danger zone of Olave, not of us saying, you know what, we have to pull the trigger on a quarterback, because it's going to be the same thing like like JJ Watt, where he said to Deshaun Watson, "I'm sorry for wasting your prime, a year in your prime." Whereas, are we wasting guys like JOK or Myles Garrett? Are we wasting the end of Jarvis Landry's career? Stuff like that. It's like, is there an answer at quarterback? I mean, you look at Herbert. He just comes into the league and is going to be one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the league now. So can you make a strong case? Troy said it. Like the thing that you and I have talked about on this show, on the Wednesday show, Troy said it. when Baker, because of his height, he has trouble understanding and being able, because when he has the lane to throw, he has to fire it in quick. And maybe it's the mechanics that have changed because of his shoulder or what, but I mean, when he misses, Baker doesn't miss low. He misses high. And that's a tough thing. That's a tough thing to fix. It's like, do you start over with a nice tall quarterback who can sit in the pocket like a Mac Jones can and operate? Or do we, I mean, it's looking like we're probably gonna see Baker's year 5 and then either assess or bring in somebody to compete if Baker wins the job, which he probably would. We see Baker year 5. If not, I don't know. But if we lose these next 2 games, all bets are off. Sorry, kick it back over to you, Mike.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm still in the camp and that they're going to run it back next year. I really feel that way. And the only
even
reason
with 4 in a row to end the season.
Yeah, I definitely think so, because I don't. There's just so much then that goes into that. I mean, where are you going? Where are you getting? Deshaun Watson is a pipe dream. Ain't happening.
No.
He would not waive his no trade clause to come to Cleveland. I could promise you that he's not coming here. Whether the allegations go away or they don't go away, Deshaun Watson is not coming here, and I don't think that Deshaun Watson would be great in the AFC North. And I got to tell you, I'm a season ticket holder. I'm there 3, 4, 5, 6 times a year, and let me tell you, the wind is strong every time I go there. Even in October, you're looking at 14, 18, 20 mile an hour winds with gusts. So that's not a fallacy that you have to drive the ball through wind a lot of the times out on the lake. It's a fact. With that being said, there's nobody else coming here. Aaron Rodgers is not coming to Cleveland. So you can just, push that aside.
Zero chance of that.
Zero chance. So
Zero.
then now who are you left with now that actually is playing the game right now? Like, you're going to go, like we talked about on the Wednesday show, you're going to go get Gardner Minshew. I mean, there's a reason why Jacksonville discarded him. There's a reason why everybody that's a backup quarterback in the NFL has been discarded. It's the reason why Heineke is playing nice, but the Redskins are probably going to be in the market for a quarterback, whether it's early or the middle rounds, because he's a backup quarterback that just happens to be playing well right now as a starter. So then
he's Minshew 2.0.
Yeah, absolutely. So then you move to the draft. And don't get me wrong, there's a couple kids in the draft that I like. But the problem is that now you've got guys, and you just alluded to it earlier, you've got guys that are in the prime of their career and ready to win now.
Yep.
So you can't take a chance, and they may, but I just don't see it. They're not going to take a chance and go and draft somebody. And then in order to draft somebody, now you're going to give up a lot of capital. You're not moving up, from 18 or 20 or what have you, 15 even, to the top 5 with just this year's first, a 2, and maybe a 4. Not happening. You're giving up multiple first round picks. So now all of a sudden, instead of,
you got to go buy your wide receiver then.
And then that's what the next point was, is now all of a sudden, I mean, you've got stud after stud that is going to be available in the first round and into the early second round. Right. And now that's all off the table. So now you have to run it back with Rashard Higgins, Jarvis Landry, DPJ, and a rookie, right?
And Schwartz, who actually contributed today, 2 end arounds and a touchdown on a broken defensive play but he caught it.
Yeah, he did. And so I don't think that I don't see them giving up the opportunity to get some really quality players and building. I mean, we could sit here and we could speculate all we want, and we've done it plenty. And
that's all we do on the Wednesday show.
Yeah, if you're a loyal listener and you listen to us, especially on the Wednesday show, you know that Mike and I have done our fair share of, kicking Baker around like a tomato can here and there. But the point is, I mean, we don't know. The injuries could be taking a toll on it. We don't know. We're not inside the front office. So we could sit here and say, oh, so-and-so needs to go. And, you guys out there can say, oh, Baker needs to go or whatever. It doesn't matter what we think. It matters what they think in the front office. And being very smart people, I just can't see them just selling the draft for a rookie. I don't. Now, with that being said, if there was a team that was drafting one, like the Jaguars, for instance, who have Trevor Lawrence, and there is a Peyton Manning in the draft, let's say, right? Or an Andrew Luck. Okay, fine. At that point, it's a no-brainer. Sacrifice your draft and next year's draft to go up and get that guy. Mm-hmm. And what's going to happen is now you're going to get that generational talent. And, the wide receivers that you and I named on the Wednesday show that ain't coming here, all of a sudden might want to come here. So I just, it's.
Well, I mean, but that's even the thing too. Even if you get a blue chipper, look at Trevor Lawrence. What is he throwing, like 8 touchdowns this year?
Yeah, we haven't had a touchdown in a while. It's not guaranteed. You're right.
You're right. It's not guaranteed. It's not. I think Trevor's going to be just fine. I think you could probably blame more of this on Urban Meyer, but Jacksonville Jaguars, welcome to the Browns, not being able to develop young quarterbacks or breaking them, so to speak.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, there's no guarantees out there. You got to look at it. I feel like we got really lucky with the Jarvis situation because basically he was getting thrown out of Miami, and then we got lucky with the OBJ situation. He was getting thrown out of New York, so it was a good marriage from the Jarvis and him connection and the excitement, and it went along with what the Browns were doing at that time, putting together this super team with Kareem Hunt and everybody that was there with Baker and Miles and Denzel. And I mean, we looked like we were going to be this, like the Packers, like 12-3, like this was who we were going to be. And we were looking forward to that. And then it hasn't been that way. And I think it's been a combination of a couple things, but ultimately, it comes down to, I really think this season has come down to 2 things. And I said it, you guys can go back if you want to spend time going back through the archives of Brownie Postgame and you want to look through what was said pre-season. What are the keys to us winning this season or losing? What will it come down to? It is injuries and special teams. Because I think ultimately we have enough talent on offense and defense to do whatever we want to do. Penalties, whether they go our way or against us, like today, they did not go our way. Right, so penalty, and we've had, and the ones that have gone negative have been negative, atrociously negative, right? And here's the thing, Mike, you made a good point about the Vegas situation, and for the people out there that are saying like, well, what about Baker's other 3 interceptions? Mike, you hit the nail on the head. Ultimately, those refs can't control. They can't control necessarily the points that are being made or not made. But what they can do is they can control the situations that create points, right? And for that situation, at the end, they allowed it to go clean, where it would have created a situation where points could have been scored. Now, Browns, either way, even if the Browns win, then no problem. But the Browns covered. I mean, they covered the 7.5. So, I mean, Vegas loses, but it's like, how much do they want to lose? Do they want to lose on the spread? Because some people just bet, heads up. So they would have lost.
I don't even know do you know what the over and under was on that game? I didn't.
46.5.
And what's the final? 44? What was it, 24?
It was 24-22. It was 46.
Huh. And what did you say it was?
46.5.
Well, there you go.
Let me double check that.
Yep.
5 hours ago.
Doesn't get more blatant than that.
Dude, I'll put it up. I'm gonna put it up. There it is, guys. Browns, Packers, 7.5. Packers, Browns, over under 46.5.
46.5.
22. Final score. 22 plus 24. Hold on, let me do my math. 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus 4 is 6. It's 46. Again, the line over under was
40,
what?
46.5. I mean, it's right there in plain sight. And again, they're and you guys have said it.
Look at the money. Look at the money line on Browns though.
Yeah,
plus 280. Browns win that game. They lose. They cover. They lose the money line and they lose the points over and under.
Yep. So, and I get it. I mean, we didn't play well in the first half because it is. I mean, you can only look at the first half. I mean, if you guys look at the second half stats, if you're thinking that it was all doom and gloom, you will be amazed at what those stats say because the Browns actually dominated the second half. And they were in a position to make the play, and a blatant call was missed. And then now you have it. So now you look, 46 was the end. The over and under was 46.5. The money line was 280 or whatever it was. So, I mean, just follow the smoking gun, right? Mm-hmm. It's right there. And it's nauseating. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, it's there.
Let's take a look at the stats real quick. Baker, 21 of 36, 222, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Most interceptions ever for Baker in one game?
Well, let me ask you this, Mike, before we talk about the 4 interceptions, right?
Yep.
Interception number 1, true or false? DPJ was being held past to 5 to 10 yards, and there was a no call and it equaled interception. True or false?
True, but go back and watch that play too. I don't know who it was underneath. It might have been Jarvis or I think it was Higgins underneath.
Yeah,
who crossed.
Somebody was open, I know.
Wide open. He heaved it.
Yeah, but still should have been a call, right? And
should have been
then
call.
You look the other interception. I mean, they hit Baker in the face, right?
In his
face mask.
So, Super Chat came in from Tony R. Browns can't afford to waste Miles and the O-line in their prime. We have to make move. We have to win now moves. We have to make win now moves.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. And at the same time, you look at the O-line and Shredder's getting up there. You're probably going to see Harris is going to be the guy in the next couple of years. That was his audition today, and he played very well.
I mean, I'm excited to see the PFFs on the Wednesday show on Harris.
Yeah, Conklin, you're probably not going to see again because of that Achilles. Teller, obviously, we locked him up, and you've got Petonio out there, who I mean, I think Petonio's in his 30s at this point, if I'm not mistaken.
We locked him up though for the end. I mean, he's going to be a Brown for the end.
And then,
Wills is one thing about Petonio.
Yeah,
I think he was absolutely serviceable at left tackle.
I got to tell you, Mike,
Pro Bowler at left guard.
At left guard. And now what does that tell you about Jedrick Wills? That Petonio steps in at left tackle, hasn't played there since college. And the past 2 games at left tackle, I mean, he's played a great game. Both games. Great. Better than Jed? No?
I mean, I don't want to, at the risk of being considered a fake fan, I don't know if I should agree with you or not. I will tell you this. I like Jed. He's a hell of a Call of Duty player. He's a hell of an actor in those commercials. And I think
enough.
And he is he was injured this year. And he's just this year was stolen from him with the injury and COVID and everything. So I don't know. I mean, I think we can salvage more out of Jed. I just think this is
Yeah, I mean,
this is just one of those, like, everything went wrong starting at the very first game. But it does say something when a guy who's never played, hasn't played since college, who's been a professional guard, can just step in there and be like, "Oh yeah, we're fine."
yeah. But and again, like I get it, guys. I mean, I really do. But if who I think there's a lot of things that are in play when you talk about the quarterback position next year and whether Baker comes back or he doesn't come back. I mean, you're talking about Mayfield in year 3 of the offense, right? Knows the playbook inside now. And so he's been injured. Maybe that's had something to do with it. Could you see something different next year with in year 3 and healthy? Sure. I mean, we saw that in Drew Brees, right? And I'm not saying that Baker Mayfield is Drew Brees by any stretch of the imagination. However, we've seen it done in the league before. And then my next point is, what rookie are you going to get that's going to come in and learn the offense and win 10, 11 games next year? And I don't think there's somebody out there that can do that. And if there is, somebody let me know. And then on the flip side of that, who are you going out to get that's better than Baker Mayfield? Again, you got to cancel Aaron Rodgers off the list, and you got to cancel Deshaun Watson off the list, because those two are not coming here. So what is the better option than Baker Mayfield? That's what I need to know. What's the better option? Because I don't know. I don't see it.
Yeah, the options that are going to exist, and for anybody who wants to have fun with it, we literally went through every NFL team on the Wednesday show and talked about who's going to be out there. The guys who are going to be out there are Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock, possibly Daniel Jones if they go quarterback, which I'd actually be surprised if New York goes quarterback. I would, but possibly Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold. Super chat, Tony R.
Not a Super Browns.
Super chat from Tony R. Wills is playing out of position. He belongs to right tackle. And we talked about this on the Wednesday show as well, Tony. We're just plugging the Wednesday show, plugging the hell out of it today.
But you got to, I mean, and not to interrupt you, Mike, but to that point, I mean, if you guys want to hear all this insightful, information, just know if you're not listening to the Wednesday show, you better start, because as Mike's about to explain, we talk about all this stuff.
We throw the scenarios out there. We play a lot of games, we do a lot of war games on the Wednesday show. And we talked about Jed sliding over to the right tackle, taking over for Conk, moving Batonio to left, leaving Hance at. I mean, to be honest, does Teller move to left then, or do we leave Teller at right? I don't think it really necessarily matters. Yeah, I don't think it necessarily matters. So Teller stays at right. You got Hance, we have options. Hudson played well. Hudson's a young guy, and then you got Nick Harris waiting in the rings. I think Nick Harris, I didn't love him last year from what we saw. I liked him today.
I agree with you.
And he's short. So, I mean, he's a guy that Baker's going to be able to see over, right? As opposed to like the Tellers of the world. So, but anyway, going back to the stats real quick. Baker Mayfield, statistically, 20 for 36, 22, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Not a lot of drop passes today. Not a lot of like blatant, he dropped it. Couple hit the guy's hands. Couple, but not many. Chubb was just Nick Chubb. 17 carries, 126, 7.4 average. 1 touchdown. Dearness Johnson, 4 carries, 4 big carries, 14.5 average. Higgins leads the team in receptions with 5, going for 58. I mean, here's the problem, guys. Like, if we go out there and get a Kenny Pickett or whoever is the darling of the draft this year, if we go out and try to get that guy and we mortgage the future for him, then that means we're going to have to go with one of the second tier wide receivers that, like all the guys that Mike mentioned are going to be off the board because those are game change type of guys. And there was a time in the NFL, Mike, if you can remember, when Detroit was drafting a wide receiver in the first round every year, where it became out of style to draft wide receivers. They had like Charles Rogers and Mike Williams and everybody. It got out of style to draft wide receivers in the first round because they were just busted like so much. The hit percentage is so low. But now these first round wide receivers are productive. And to look at who we have right now, I think Higgins is fine. I think Jarvis is going to be like 30. So he's going to fall off a cliff soon. But he's going to, like you mentioned, again, if everybody's playing the Wednesday show mention drinking game, drink. We talked about this on the Wednesday, that Jarvis is going to have to switch to a more of a slot type receiver position, which basically he is anyway. He's always kind of been a Y, right, as opposed to an X. Frickin' Janovich, Andy Hanzovich with 2 catches. But I think the Packers, A-Rod 24-34, 2 and 3 touchdowns. That's a game right there.
That play annoys me, by the way. That is a design play that works every now and again. It worked today twice. But if you remember a couple of weeks ago, it was one that didn't work and had us screaming out in the flat.
Which one? The flat to Janovich?
Yeah.
He did help us get a touchdown with Chubb. And he absorbed a nice shot there that let Chubb force his way through.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
And to what you were saying too. So let's say you sacrifice your draft and you go get Kenny Pickett, right? Because I happen to like the kid.
Yeah.
So you sacrifice the draft, you go to get Kenny Pickett.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you thought free agent quarterbacks weren't coming to Cleveland prior. Nobody is coming with the uncertainty, and then now on top of it, the uncertainty of the quarterback position.
And Mike, here's the other thing. I mean, we can we really afford to pay top dollar for a wide receiver to come in? When was the last time the Browns went out there, paid top dollar for a wide receiver, and they came in and actually produced?
It's been a while. I can't
even name one.
I don't even know. I go back to the dude that left I burned his house down.
Andre Rison.
She burned his house down. Yeah. I mean, he was supposed to be, and he didn't pan out. And
I don't even think he showed up at practice.
Yeah, I mean, who else didn't show up?
Kenny Britt.
That we wasted all the money on. There was a guy recently too that was just chiming in about our woes with OBJ. I can't remember who it was, but
it's been bad. I mean, so are we going to go out there and make that mistake again with a guy coming in who's just going to go through the motions? How out of the guys that are out there, is Allen Robinson like Jarvis Landry? Because it takes a Jarvis Landry type mentality to be successful as a wide receiver in Cleveland. So we kind of have to go draft a guy, dude.
Yeah. And you and I talked about it on the Wednesday show. I still personally believe that they'll find a way to restructure Jarvis somehow, and he's going to stay there. I truly believe that. But
yeah, like where's he going to go? Is he going to go out to LA with OBJ and be his Al Cowlings or what?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that he's going to go. I think they value him too much. The front office does, and the coaching staff. So, I mean, the long and the short of it is, if you don't have to make a decision, then you don't have to make a decision. So Baker's already signed for the 5th year. So if something somehow, some way fell in their lap where, they take a Burks or a Olave or Wilson or Dotson from Penn State in the first round, and then a quarterback they really like that's not on our radar, right? Because it's still early in the process. We just go with the names that we've seen and have done a little film study on. But I mean, there's no telling. I mean, there could be somebody that they really like that can be had in the bottom of the second round, and you could go ahead, or I'm sorry, the top of the second round. You could go in, you could snag somebody like that, and they're learning while Baker is just playing on his fifth year.
Yeah, let him sit.
They're
like Jordan Love.
Yeah. I mean, they're not. I think people want to see something rash, and Andrew Berry is everything but that. Everything is calculated, and he's not going to just throw Baker away in the hopes that he can hit on something. That's how you lose jobs in the NFL. Like, you don't go 11-5 last year, right? And that was Baker as your quarterback. So he took you to the playoffs last year. We always have theories about why we thought that was such a successful year.
Mm-hmm.
And Yeatman is kind of funny, because if he thinks that his squad's going somewhere, he's got I got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn. But Andrew Berry is not going to do that.
Yeah, super chat came in from Tony R. But Baker and Kevin haven't shown they can use an elite wide receiver. Why waste a pick like tight ends? It's not bad. I think the smart move would be to grab a wide receiver, and then, but I mean, whether they've shown they can or not, I mean, elite wide receiver, like, keep in mind, everybody thinks OBJ is like, young OBJ in New York. He ain't young OBJ. He can be productive, but this offense isn't designed around that. And he's not like Lazard or these big ass wide receivers can go up and just nail it. I mean, he's a finesse wide receiver, so if the Browns go out there, I hope they go out and get a body, because like JOK was he was a godsend. JOK is going to he's going to anchor this defense and will make Pro Bowls, right? If he can stay healthy, he'll make Pro Bowls. Yeah, I mean, there's still a chance he could be Rookie of the Year. Maybe. I mean, Parsons probably would get it, but he's up there. He's like the, he's 1B behind Parsons. So
I'd agree with that. Yeah, but they're going to draft a receiver. I mean, you have to go and get one. They're probably going to extend the Njoku. You got Hooper. He's not going anywhere. He's signed. Bryant has shown flashes. So I
he'll
think,
stick around, and he's cheap.
Yeah, I mean, those three are serviceable. I think they get the job done. You just need to find a Devontae Adams or on the rookie end of that. Look what Jamar Chase has done for Joe Burrow. Look what Jalen Waddle has done for Tua, and you could go on and on through the league at those top receivers, the kids that come in and can play now and make a difference. So, they will. And like I said, I mean, they probably, I'm sure, are going to have somebody that they like to develop in the second, third round. And that's going to be who's going to come in and compete with Baker. But you're gonna. I'll
tell you that kid out of UCLA, and they showed it a couple times during this game. They're playing like Utah State or something. That Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Keep an eye on him for like a late round guy. Guys like that can move and have really nice arms that are not pro ready yet. They can't plug them in, right? Look at Justin Fields. I mean, Justin Fields he was the top of his game at Ohio State, and he was arguably not plug-in ready. Trevor Lawrence hasn't lit it up. Has any rookie quarterback lit it up? I mean, Zach Wilson hasn't. So has any rookie said, oh, Mac Jones. Mac Jones, the one guy, whoever was like, oh, he's too safe and he's not going to do well. And look, do it really, really well. Wins are the only thing that matter. My dad wants us to draft a kicker out of Miami. Some kid out of Miami is supposed to be amazing. But
I'll take anybody. I mean, I am absolutely convinced that I could have went out there today, straight on style, lefty, with a boot, in that condition, would have made that first extra point.
I couldn't believe it. I literally could not believe it. I'm like, does nobody want to kick for us? Does nobody want to compete to kick for us? How is it possible that we get bum after bum after bum? It was Zane. It was Greg the Leg. It was who was right before Parkey. Now McLaughlin. Now Nagger. I mean, it's just who wants this job?
But think about this. You could even go back to that miss, which then turned into a 2-point attempt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can even blame the kicker on the loss. You could blame the kicker on the loss if you wanted to, because that's what set the wheels in motion to then have to go for the 2 points. We chased 2 points the whole game. And how many points did we lose by, guys?
2.
So it all adds up. I mean, that's why it's a team sport. It's 22 guys. So,
and I want to say Austin Siebert was one of the most accurate kickers in NCAA history.
Yep, that's exactly right.
So the kid can kick the hell out of the ball. He just couldn't do it in Cleveland, and that was it.
Yeah, I think it's the mental aspect of it when you get to the pros, because there's so much riding on it that, and not to say there's not a lot riding on it in college, but I mean, normally in college football, those big time teams, you could count on one hand how many times they need, a crucial field goal, or even if they have a miss extra point or a missed field goal, in the grand scheme of things, it's a shootout half the time, and it doesn't even matter. But when when you get to the NFL level, I mean, I'm sure his thoughts were racing as think about that. So the kid comes in and he knows, McLaughlin has stunk up the place for weeks now. And then he goes on the COVID list, and now here you are being elevated from the practice squad. Oh my God, I have to kick this extra point. I'm at Lambeau Field. Shit, I just shanked it. Right. And then he was solid on the second one. So
yeah, solid on the second one. I mean, I don't know, guys. It is I mean, he did kick a field goal, right? What was he? 1 for 137. But meanwhile, anyway, it's Christmas, guys. I want to spend a little bit more time with the kids before they go to bed. Appreciate you all. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody who came through with all the supers today. Tony R, Max Nikolenko. Who else was out there? I think Tyrone. Thank you, Tyrone Jackson.
Mr. Roll Up was out there.
Michael Del Castillo.
Mids plug.
Yeah, guys. Appreciate you all. And I mean, everybody, I hope you have a very happy and safe holiday, rest of your holiday season. We'll see you on Wednesday. Go Browns.
Go Browns.